He's supposed to be a pretty decent kickboxer, so this should be interesting. This girl comes from Japan. She looks thick. What I like about one is that they score the MMA fights as a whole fight, rather than just like round by round. Uh, so that's I think if they did that in the UFC, it'd probably rewrite history on a few fights. Like Alex Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev the other day. If that was scored as a whole fight, you'd probably give it to Alex Volkanovski because of how it ended up, right? So yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, apparently the girl in the black shorts is like quite experienced in kickboxing. Obviously not too experienced in wrestling. She just got taken down really easy. She didn't really even sprawl. Hmm. She's trying for an armbar. I mean, this would be fast if she got it. No. Oh. Yeah, the can knee to the head of a grounded opponent in one too. So if you're familiar with UFC, you'll see it's a bit different. Obviously, MMA not really my forte. I'm not very experienced with wrestling or BJJ. Um, but yeah, I like to watch still. Damn, the internet's not too good today. Let me just try and sort this out. Sorry about this. Okay, should be better now. Okay, I'll wait until there's a break in the round and then I'll go live. Things always start off messy, don't they, when you do lives? I mean, the Iranian girl's doing a good job of defending, at least, until now. Wow. She did well to survive that. Those knees on the ground, they they're pretty effective when you use them properly. Um, Anyone see Kevin Randleman a few years ago? Uh, he was really good at it. There was like one time he was pretty much doing a handstand and dropping onto someone's head with his knees. That was pretty impressive. Of course, Kevin Randleman was like super athletic, like a freak of an athlete. Rest in peace, Kevin Randleman. Had like one of the worst staph infections I've ever seen. But that's nothing to do with this fight. Yeah, you can see that the Iranian girl, you know, she's just trying to hang on. The problem is that she's not, you know, she's not too experienced on the ground. So even just being in the position where she's having to defend, even though it doesn't look like she's doing much work, it'll be exhausting for her just because it's new. You know, now she's under all these threats of different submissions. She's going to be exhausting for her. Yeah, you can see the other girls, you know, she's going to try and get an arm. Can she survive the next 30 seconds? It doesn't look like she's got the leverage on the arm yet. Yeah, she did well to survive that, but Sawada just couldn't get the leverage onto the arm to like bend it a little bit more, like get the hyperextension on it. Oh, wow. Good for her, you know. I don't think that the commentators were giving her any, you know, I don't know anything about either of these girls, but the commentators were talking when she was coming into the ring, and they, you know, they weren't expecting much from her on the ground at all. So she at least managed to defend herself for pretty much a whole round. I think it was probably on its feet for 10 seconds, if that. Good for her. Actually, don't know what the fight card looks like too much today. I know there's like some pretty experienced ties on later on, but it's not a card of like big names really. Seconds out. Okay, I'll just skip ahead a little bit. Oh. Oh no, I wish I didn't do that. Yeah, I mean, Sawada's not having a problem getting her down at all, is she? You know, like this is twice in 2 rounds. You know, it's made it about 10 seconds before it goes to the ground. Yeah, I mean, she's gonna try and go for the armbar now, just try and get the leg over. Yeah, I mean, that was, you know, how demoralising would it be? You know, you just had that first round where she couldn't really do much. You know, she did a little bit to defend herself, but obviously didn't really put herself, didn't put the Japanese girl in any danger at all. So then, you know, hit the ground straight away in the second round, and it's, you know, just doing the same thing over and over. So I think she's probably ready to quit anyway. You know, I mean, she didn't quit, she tapped out, but how much longer would the fight have gone on? That's a shame. But yeah, I mean, there's no attempt to sprawl at all. Yeah, neither time that she got taken down, there wasn't any attempt to sprawl. Didn't even try and pop her hips back at all. So that's what you get if you're coming underprepared. I hope that they give her a chance to come back in and do like a kickboxing or Muay Thai fight, because when they were talking when she was walking into the ring, that was what they were saying, that she's more experienced on the ground, on the feet. Sorry, so yeah, it's a shame for that to be a one chance in one, and then it be out on the rule set that she's not, you know, doesn't really have any experience in. I'm just going to turn the sound up just a little bit. What's going on with my internet? Okay, hopefully this is better now. Hannah Brady versus Claire. What's this say? Rankine. Oh, well, this will be a bit more interesting, I think. Hannah Brady looks familiar to me. I wonder if she trains in Phuket. Not sure what gym she'd be at, but she does look familiar. Okay. Yeah. I wish that it came up with their records. Phuket top team is right by where I live. So I must have seen this girl walking around at some point. Yeah, if you don't know, on the same street, you got Tiger Muay Thai, you got Phuket top team, you got Dragon Muay Thai, Singer Muay Thai. It's all the whole street in where I live in Phuket is just gyms, really. It's about a kilometre long, and I can't even think how many gyms there are, but a lot. There's a lot of gyms and weed shops, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, weed and gear shops, and a 7-Eleven, a Family Mart, and that's about it. But it's pretty cool. This girl's in shape. Ah. She's shredded. I feel like this girl's... I'm sure that I've seen her around. I've heard the name before. I'm sure that she's like... she maybe fought on the UK scene. Or she's fought around Thailand for a while. Just can't think. But she's definitely familiar to me. Okay. Sorry. Just going to turn the volume up a little bit to see if they say anything interesting. (16-7) is a decent record. So she comes in record 16-7. It's pretty good. Kate Pontip, yeah, she's from the UK scene. I thought that I know that I've seen her. Keep Pontip's good gym in the UK. They've got some decent, got some really good Thai coaches there. I think if someone's from the UK and they're watching, I think is Jam Pop still the head coach there. Oh, they're doing some nice work. Yeah, I mean you can kind of see that they're not too experienced with using the small gloves. That they're not fighting in they're not defending in the way that I think you would if you'd been, training or using them before a lot. Yeah, I mean you can kind of see that they're not too experienced with using the small gloves. The red corner, she's fighting at like a bit of a strange range. She's like boxing from kicking range, kind of. Um, I mean, she's landing kicks, but it doesn't seem to be like a huge amount of power in them. She's not turning the hips into them very well. Um, she's catching the blue corner low. Blue corner, she's gonna have to. She's using her extended guard, but she's using it a little bit too high. If she wants to push it back, she needs to push her hand down into her chest. I know it's a bit more comfortable with a woman, but that's, she's a woman too, so whatever. The way that she's lifting up her knee too, she kind of needs to put that across and push her out with the leg rather than just standing still. I'm not sure why you wouldn't counter. Give it a chance to get back up. The other girl got a momentum a little bit, and then blue corner just couldn't stop her. It's hard to break someone's rhythm when it's it's like an avalanche kind of. She would have been better off taking a knee and just giving herself an 8 count, really. Shame. But the girl did well. They've got her straight out. Oh well. I mean, this girl does look in tremendous shape. I think she had some work to do, like with her, power wise. I think her technique was a little bit off, but effective. I think she seemed to be fighting at a strange range, and I can see why the other girl struggled with that a little bit. She was, I don't know, maybe it was because they're in smaller gloves and, she was trying to stay safe with that or whatever. Not sure. Just have a listen to what they're saying. Good little fight. Yeah, if you watch that fight again, you'll see she wasn't really turning the hips over into her kicks. It might have just been that she's more confident with her hands and was trying to get her out of there quickly. Yeah. Good for her. I'd like to see her fight in one again. Yeah, keep on tipping in the UK. They do have a they do have a pretty good. Uh, they've got some decent fighters coming out of there. They're really well established now. They've got a lot of actual Thai coaches that have gone over there. So yeah, good for them. Yeah, because I've only just started to watch fights again. It's a little bit difficult for me to have any background on the fighters. Um, like in the last couple of years, the only time that I've really watched fights is if I've been judging them, or it's a friend, or a fight that I'm kind of emotionally invested in. Like I like the person that's fighting, or whatever. But I've enjoyed starting a channel and watching fights again. I know Anatoly. He lives right by me. Man, he's a monster. They call him the Russian Tyson. John Lineker, he's having the rematch with Fabricio Andrade. That's a fight that would be good to watch. I thought, well, it's pretty well known that John Lineker was losing the fight and then got caught low and decided to, not continue. So, they're having to have a rematch now. But Fabricio was winning the fight, by a mile. I'd love to see DJ do another one of those special fights that he did against Rodtang. That was entertaining. He's got, Demetrius Johnson. He never really got the respect that he deserved in UFC, and his stand-up's great. He's getting more of a chance to show it in ONE FC, which is nice. But I'd like to see him do another one of those special rules fights. Interesting. I'm not sure what it is now. What's this? Okay. At the moment, there's some really good Russian fighters, isn't there? That they're doing well with their kickboxing and Muay Thai. There's so many in Thailand at the moment. They're all training hard and they come in fit. And because they don't have that traditional, like, Thai upbringing in their martial arts, they have a different approach to Muay Thai fights. So that's why you see like Superbon losing to Genghis Alazov, and like there's been other examples, but it's interesting. Like even though the Thais are a lot more experienced, usually they can kind of come unstuck against people that are unorthodox for them. So yeah, I don't know anything about either of these guys, but I'd assume that's what we're going to see. If they've got a beard that's long and a really short moustache and their ears are inside out, just stay away from them. They're trouble. They're always pretty good fighters. They're tough people. Oh, he's teeny. Let's see what weight this is. Maybe bantamweight, is it? He's a real baby face, isn't he? Oh, Mr. X, it killed me. I was in bed for I was in bed non-stop for 4 days, and then, yeah, like I've been moving around the last couple of days, but mate, it killed me. But thank you for asking. Who have you got for this one? Red or blue? I mean, I don't know anything about either, but a lot of these Russian guys coming through now, they're so unorthodox, and they're in shape. It's difficult to not pick them over the Thais at the moment. And I love Muay Thai, so it's a hard one to say. Cheers, brother. Oh, well, I'm glad you're better too, man. Who do you think's gonna get this one? Okay, red, blue, red, blue. Who do you think? Oh. See, one of the biggest things when you see these like matches where it's a different style is whichever style they choose to fight, right? So like the Russian guy at the moment is choosing to kind of fight at more of a Thai pace. So you've got to give the Thai the upper hand then, but then it can work the other way too. It's interesting. I mean, the Thais in general, just from their experience, they don't panic when they go backwards. So they're pretty happy to fight on their back foot. Some strong kicks on him. Yeah, see the Thai guy's not thrown enough to really make a threat of himself just yet. It's no good fighting a three round of 3 minutes and be fighting at your normal stadium fight pace. There need to be quicker starters. The Russian guy, when you see his guard, he's got his hands very very close to his face. The Thai guy could really make use of his body kicks across his arms. Just needs to set things up a little bit more. He's made no threat with his hands at all, the Thai guy. Yeah. For sure, the Thai guy, he looks a lot more crisp, and you know, he, but he's just not got the activity. He's not making a threat of himself at all. Uh, it's disappointing when you see them fight like that. He knows that he's only got 3 rounds, so he can't be starting at a slower pace. And there's times where the Russian guy's just standing in front of him and he's not working. It's a nice kick. Who have you got for that one? Who did you give that round to? I think from the first round you have to go to the more active fighter, which was the Russian guy. Well, it's a bit more work there. It's nicer to see, but come on. See, like the Thai guy can back him up when he wants to. He's just not being active enough. He's not making a threat of himself. Enough. The guy's not really frightened of him. I mean, that was better. Come on, but he needs more of it. No, this is supposed to be traditional Muay Thai scoring. But to be honest, traditional Muay Thai scoring's a complicated one because it's like, well, they score aggression and ring control and wherever else. But then there's a lot to it, like like how difficult a move would be to land. Really, like they look at that too. Um, yeah, it can be hard. When I was doing my judging course, what they told us to really look at was, well, if it was an even round, who would you rather be at the end of that round, and then give the round to that person. So that's pretty much what you go off. Nice. He is finding his rhythm now, the Thai guy. Yeah, I mean he's outscoring him really well now. The if the Russian guy was more, using his feints a little bit more, uh, using in and out footwork just a little bit more, he could wait for the guy to kick him, and then move back out of the way, and then capitalize on his miss. But it doesn't seem like he's got the IQ just yet. He might not be all that experienced. Um, but yeah, that's what you do. You have to get people to try and commit to a kick, and that's how you box a kicker, really. Get them to commit to something and then capitalize on what they've just missed out on. Ah, good. It's a better round for the Thai guy. He was definitely outscoring his opponent there. There was talking about like Thai scoring. There's one fight where I'd been and I'd felt like I'd been all over the guy for the whole fight, except for there was one point I got stuck in a clinch because I wasn't really a great clincher, um, and the guy just pretty much took my back, and it was only for like a split second, and the referee broke it up, and all of the judges scored it to this other guy because of that, and he was more damaged than me. I'd landed more kicks than him. It was just that one thing. So I was like, well, wow, okay, that's Muay Thai scoring in a nutshell. You know, it's difficult to understand, and I've always thought, well, if you have to explain in a like after a fight why you won, like that's not great. Imagine saying to your mates like, oh yeah, well I won because I turned him around and got his back once. You know, but I think that'd be a pretty crap feeling. The Russian guy needs to get the Thai guy to commit to his kicks, and you know, move out of the way. But he's just not doing it. I don't think he's got the, you know, he's not got the IQ just yet. At the minute, he's being very one-dimensional. You know, that there's adrenaline all being part of it and stuff. He's excited and whatever, and it'll feel a lot worse for him while he's in there about like, you know, oh, I'm getting hit, I'm getting hit, I'm getting hit. I'm sure his corner have just told him that he's losing a fight too. So sometimes that'll either bring the best out of you or it'll make you get stuck in the mud. And that kind of seems to where he is now. Just trying the same things over and over again. It's not working. I mean, that's the idea there, right? So you see that he, you know, leant back, came back in with his hands. But there's more to boxing someone and like trying to knock them out than just trying to hit them hard, right? Yeah, I mean that Thai guy's all over him at the moment. He's still in the fight, but he's not doing enough in my opinion. You know, he needs to be trying to win the fight, and he's tired, and he's used up too much energy trying to do the same thing over and over again. Inexperience, I think. You can kind of see like then he just looked at the, you know, just looked at his corner. He tried to pull guard in a Muay Thai fight. See, you can see he's just not taking it from him. He could steal this fight from him, and he's not doing it. You know, it's a shame. Yeah, I mean, he spent far too long of that round on the floor. Caught him with a left hook. Now goes down himself. He spent far too long on the floor this round. I mean, he didn't really get hit with anything, so the referee didn't have to count him, but that's a bad feeling. You know, it'll feel, you know, when you're in a fight and you're in the heat of a fight at the time, any time that you hit the ground, you have to get back up. It's demoralising. You're like, oh no, get back up, then you're down again. You know, there's sometimes you'll get knocked down maybe 2 or 3 times, and it'll just feel to you like you've been on the fight, on the floor the whole fight. Yeah, I mean, the Thai guy did really well. You know, impressive to watch. You know, when he did start to put his stuff together, but it was just a little bit late. He seemed to you know, be a slow starter in the same way that he would be in a normal stadium fight, which is 5 rounds. But you can't go into 3-round fights like that. If he can get out of that, then you know, he's a dangerous fighter. I'd be very surprised if this doesn't go to the red corner. I'm just going to... okay, there we go. Yeah, he got it. Yeah, I think the judges scored it the same as me. First round went to the Russian guy. The next 2 rounds went to the Thai guy. He did well. Alexandra. I've just turned up the sound of my speakers just for a second so I can hear what's going on. I should wear headphones, but I don't. I like these little montages that they put on between fights. This was a good little fight, Angela Lee versus Stamp Fairtex. Angela Lee's so good, and Stamp too. She's good, but not where she needs to be just yet. Yeah, Stamp's not where she needs to be with the BJJ and the wrestling and whatever else just yet. It's going to be tough for anybody going from a really strict Muay Thai background to MMA. I think that's where it'll take a little bit longer for the Thais to really catch on. Not because they can't or they don't have wrestling. It's just that they spend years and years and years only doing Muay Thai. So then, in a way, it makes it more difficult for them to learn how to fight MMA. The stand up is different. The range is different and whatever else. The weapon choice has to be different too. They're not going to be able to throw the same amount of body kicks that they normally would. And it's they've definitely got places where they're going to be stronger. But yeah, it just takes a while for them to change their way of thinking. It kind of changed their IQ. Yeah, that was a shame. This is a fight I was talking about earlier. Fabricio versus Lineker. Fabricio smashed him through that fight. Yeah, Fabricio's one of the guys that lives right by me. He's a super nice Brazilian guy, real friendly. I actually had lunch with him the other day, so yeah, it's nice to see him around. Okay, so women's MMA. I really wish that it gave the records up on these screens. Okay, who have you got for this? Russia or India? Alexandra Savicheva. I feel like I've seen Zebra Bano before. Zeba Bano, however you say it. There's some wicked Indian fighters coming out of the UK while I was there. Just from my gym, we had some really good Indian boxers. And, I know Imran Khan isn't Indian, but he's he's that way. I'm not trying to sound racist, but he was that way. But he was really good for a while. Then there's my teammate from back home, Kerith Bella, who's a half Indian guy. But a lot of good boxers. Yeah, but in MMA, I haven't seen many Indian fighters. I'm sure there are, and I'm sure that domestically they've got their own thing going on. I just haven't seen much of them. And there hasn't been any big names just yet. Was it? I know there's Amir Khan. Is it Amir Khan that used to fight in one? And there's that other guy that there's a really famous clip of him, and he's being rude to his opponent and then gets knocked out really quickly. But I think both of those guys are Indian too. The Russians always seem to be fit. You know, I haven't seen many fights with these young Russian fighters that come in and they get tired. Must be encouraging to look in your corner and one of your cornermen have got his nose all plastered up. Yeah, they are doing MMA on these Lumpini shows every Friday. It's I don't know how you feel like. For me, it kind of feels like that what was special about Lumpini's kind of being lost with these things. But I don't know if it's saving the stadium because through the COVID period they were talking about closing it and Rajadamnern, and of course that would have been terrible for the sport of Muay Thai. So if this is what it's taken to save it, then so be it. The original Lumpini got burnt down a few years ago, so it's not like it's the same. It doesn't have the same history, but it still has the same name. So yeah, how do you feel about that? The MMA at Lumpini. The original Lumpini, women couldn't touch the ring. Telling them to take the sign down. Yeah, in the original Lumpini, women couldn't touch the ring and no women fight. I think that that there is still a lot of Muay Thai on, but I think that the way one are doing it is to build up the MMA side and the Muay Thai side all at once, and don't forget they're putting on these shows every week now, so they're getting what they can, I guess. What I'll say though, at the moment, it feels like the level of Muay Thai has dropped, especially in Phuket. I was looking at I've been to the fights recently to go and watch, and it just feels like there were some special fighters here a few years ago, and then pre-COVID, and now it just feels like it's took a few years back in the level of the fights there. Yeah, I mean, so some stuff, like the women not being able to touch a ring and stuff. It's just, sometimes tradition, for tradition's sake, it doesn't feel like, it feels unnecessary. I've got nothing against women fighting in Lumpini at all, and really, I don't have anything against MMA being at Lumpini. It just feels like a little bit of something special's been lost from there, I suppose. But they had to save the stadium, right? So, and I'm enjoying these Friday night fights that they're doing. Ooh. I'd say that the Russian girl here looks more comfortable on her feet. That was nice, a good bit of balance there. Managed to taper off with her shoulder. That was a... Whoa, tagged her there too. Yeah, I mean, this girl, she's the Bano, she's struggling to... you can just see that her stand-up isn't where it needs to be. She's walking forward with the strikes and that kind of thing, and you could just see clumsiness. Yeah, I mean, that was the only way that was going to go, right? Wow. Yeah, it seems like the Russian girl seems like is comfortable on the ground too. She's got long limbs. I know that they're the same weight, but the Russian girl seems to be very long for the weight. Bano needs to roll. The girl's sitting a little bit too high on her chest for her to be able to try and kick her legs up like that. I like these fights that are like pretty easy to score so far, Yeah, I mean the ref made the right call there. Bano wasn't in a position to really defend herself, and it just seemed like she wasn't really going to go anywhere. I'd be surprised if Bano complained about that. She just got stuck. Yeah, I mean Bano definitely needs to go and find a decent striking gym. Everything that she threw while she was standing was very sloppy. I know it sounds nasty and it sounds like I'm being mean, but fighters need to have someone around them being honest to them, and I really don't think that someone would have held pads for her from a good gym and then said that she was ready to fight like that. Maybe her groundwork is amazing, but she's definitely not where she needs to be standing. Okay, I'm just going to turn the sound up on my speakers and I'll be back in 1 second. And you were absolutely right, disgruntled. I'm back. So, who do you people think can beat Alazov at the moment? I think there's anybody. I'd like to see Alazov versus Petrosian. I think that'd be an interesting fight to watch. Is Nicky Holtzkin still fighting, or is he retired now? I should have a look, really. Sam Apeche is so good, but he's just not beating the top guys. He's a very good gatekeeper. I think keep him as a gatekeeper for the top three, maybe. It's nice there. Poor old Yodsen Clay. He had a rough end to his career, didn't he? Yeah, Grigorian I'd like to see against Alazov. Grigorian's like he's a bit got a kind of like an Alizov kind of style too, hasn't he? A little bit unorthodox, um, maybe a little bit more I don't know, maybe even a little bit more explosive. I'd have to watch both of them. No, Petrosian is like you'd say that getting older is a problem, but the way that he fights is like he doesn't ever get hit. So, I know that Superbon knocked him out, but you know, he's had all them fights, and it's like that's, you know, he's so experienced and so good, and you know he's gone through all of that without really getting hit. So yeah, I'd like to see Alazov and Grigorian, and yeah, interesting fights. Um, it's funny how styles work, isn't it? Because I think Petrosian could do better against Alazov, but then Superbon knocked out Alazov. So it's funny how math works sometimes. It doesn't always make sense. It's a shame that like this wasn't around when, you know, a few years ago when we had like Prime Borkow. So I really think that he'd have, you know, the thing with I think with Borkow is that win or lose, his fights are always exciting to see, and there was no dying him. Like, you know, you'd never see him give up or whatever, you know, and he's old. He's much older now. I don't think he'd really compete at this level anymore, but yeah, a few years ago he was still dangerous, and you know it would have been interesting to see him against an Alazov or a Grigorian. You know, I know that he fought Petrosian, but it was when Petrosian was very young, and you know that fight ended in a draw. I know. Yeah, MMA just doesn't do it for me the same way that Muay Thai and kickboxing do to watch. I mean, high level MMA is always interesting to watch, but you know, yeah, yeah. I think with Superbon too, he doesn't go through the gears with people the same way that Borkow does. Like if you watch him, he'll kind of fight one rhythm all the time. He doesn't have that same like aggression in him. Whereas Borkow, you know, he used to he'd go with you if you tried to look one up him. He'd go with you. Even in fights where he was losing, like you know, KL Zanyov or something like that, you know, Borkow got smashed in the first round by him, cut to pieces, but then carried on. Like, it was like, oh, come on. And I think Superbon's got that bit of quit in him. And he admires his work far too much too. You can kind of see, like, he'll hit and he'll, you know, kind of look at what he's just done. And that's something that concerns me with what I've seen of Tawanchai so far, is that he's got that very, like, nice to see style, but it works well when someone's giving him the space. Whereas if someone's not giving him that space and they're trying to take the fight from him, they can kind of buckle. I mean, I haven't seen Tawanchai buckle yet, but you know, Superbon definitely did. You know, there are other like high level guys that have done the same thing too. I mean, Yodsenklai included. You know, especially at the end of his career. Yes, yeah. This won't be a big UFC fight, but I don't know. You never know. That there's actually, you know, I get taken to some fights to go and judge, or you know, I've refereed sometimes, but I don't really like to referee in Thailand. But judge some fights, and you're surprised sometimes. They're exciting. That small guys that are having a good fight. You can't judge, but yeah, I'd much rather be watching kickboxing or Muay Thai. Okay, who we going for? The Uzbek kid or this one? Um, on red or blue, who do you think? Man, they've got a big team of Russian guys at Venom. Venom must be huge. I haven't been there yet. Yeah, I did a reaction to one of Super Bond's fights before I saw before the fight with Alazov, and yeah, I kind of had the feeling that Alazov was going to take it from him. Yeah, yeah. What one doesn't have the same MMA talent just yet. Um, I mean, MMA is definitely growing in Asia, but it's still not. It's still not where the UFC is, like MMA wise. But I think this is the way that they're doing it is good. Like this, they're putting on Muay Thai and stuff with MMA. I don't mind these shows. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, the red corner looks decent. Yeah. Thanks, ref. Now break it up now. And let's make them fight each other. I'm glad that it didn't start him against the ropes again. So he just stepped in a little bit too close, but when he threw the two, he came in with on his jab and his cross, and then ended up getting caught like that. Um, it looks to me like they've both been more comfortable standing up fighting. So I don't know why then. Sometimes it's like it's like okay, oh, you can take him down in this fight, so then they wanna go down on the floor. It's kind of like when people fight Muay Thai, A class rules or four Muay Thai rules for the first time. As soon as the fight starts, they want to elbow. Uh, yeah, I just think that Rod Tang is his style just wouldn't work against like any good wrestlers. I think, but it'd take years and years of growth. He's doing well. He's got him. He needs to keep him guessing though. That was good. He needs to keep him guessing. Like he's caught him. And the other guy's rocked. The worst thing that you can do is to just try and headhunt. Then you need to still be working the legs and everything else, and then the head will open back up again. When someone knows that they're hurt, they get tight. You can see that the Uzbek guy just, he's got, quite clumsy footwork. I know he's hurt now, but his footwork's very clumsy. He doesn't seem to have much power in his shot. Like when he's throwing leg kicks, he hasn't thrown anything too strong. Whoa! Was that a slip? I'm not sure whether that was a slip or if he tagged him there. You can see he's trying to land an uppercut just as he was shooting in there. Start jumping now. Okay. Okay. Who would you give that round to? What I liked about the Rodtang versus DJ fight was that you could just see the tactics straight away. Like in the first round, Rodtang was running after him, right? And then the second round, you knew that DJ was going to be able to use his full MMA, and you could just see that Rodtang was then like taking a completely different approach. He was like, okay, back foot, and Rodtang, I think he can be a bit one-dimensional. You don't really see much of him going backwards. No one can move him backwards really, so that's why. But yeah. Yeah, Red Corner did have a much crisper work. I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if they rematched that and Rodtang didn't run away and just kept going forward in the second round too, just to see whether DJ would be shocked by that, and it was a good fight though. It was interesting. I hope they do more of those. Well, I hope that Rodtang versus Superlek is Muay Thai. I think it is. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting fight, isn't it? The thing about Rodtang is that you never see anyone try and work his body, and I've wondered a few times when I've watched him, like if if you were to work knees and teeps and even draw the body with left hooks, so I'd like to see whether how that would do. Because a lot of those guys that like to come forward and stuff, they're so ready for these shots to the head and stuff. It's difficult to really catch him off guard, but the body's different, and like on street fights where you've got like a health bar and it goes down when you get hit. The body's kind of like that. It's like punishment adds up over time. Like a headshot, you can kind of recover from a bit better. So I think that working the body of Rodtang would be the way to go. And Superlek kicks like a monster. I'm not sure if they've already fought each other before, maybe in the stadiums. Yeah, I mean, Rodtang does it with people that he knows he can do it with, right? Like, he didn't really do it against Jonathan Haggerty too much. And he does it when he knows that there's room to get away with it. But if you're going to fight... if you're going to fight someone like Rodtang that wants to do all that kind of stuff, or even like Saenchai or anybody like that, you have to keep putting it on them. You can't give them the space to do all that stuff, because as soon as they do that, then they're going to grow in confidence and they'll take the fight from you, even if you're outworking them. But you just need to stay on top of them all the time. If I was going to train someone to fight against like a Rodtang, I'd just make sure that it would fit. Like, you've got to be strong and whatever else. You've got to be technically sound, but your cardio's got to be there to fight someone like that. Yeah, Rodtang is short, uh, but drill long knees with him. I think I think that'd be the way to go. I just haven't seen anyone try and do it with him. I mean, if I was that size, I wouldn't want to try and do it, to be honest. But I think that'd be the way to go. At least you can keep your hands tight to your head while you throw knees. Oh, you got him. It's so funny when you see these guys that, like, they get tagged and then they're like, "Oh, you didn't get me." Well, throw something back. Come on, let's go. See, what all this is going on, if he was to try and chop the Uzbeki guy's legs, he would, he wouldn't be able to be running around like this. So, you still need to be working high and low the whole time. You tag someone in the head, you still need to working their legs and stuff too. Someone knows when they're hurt. Ah, come on. Okay, well. Yeah, exactly. Pretending he's not rocked with half his motor skills. That's right. Yeah. They're both so interested in making a show of things. They keep pointing at each other and doing all that kind of stuff. It's like, man, it's just fight. Like, you're not Nate Diaz yet, so let's get through this one and we'll move on to the next one. Yeah. Yeah, I think when people get tired, like kicks are demanding, like energy wise, but when people get tired, it's like they forget, you know, uh, they just want to headhunt, and it's a shame sometimes they let fights run away from them because of that. I mean, the other guy is ready to take low kicks. Look at him, like his legs look tired. I know he's being light on his feet, but a few kicks and he'll feel tired. Not sure why Biang Tan's on the back foot now. Come on. But there's some redness over his knee. Biang Tan's definitely a crisper striker, and he could take this fight. It's just whether or not he wants to work for it. I mean, you got to wonder whether the Uzbek guy thinks that he's won this. Like, I mean, there's no way he has. But he's not doing anything to win the fight, is he? You know, uh, yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see the Uzbek guy, maybe try wrestling with him. There hasn't been, that I've seen anyway, like anyone shoot for a double or a single, and it's supposed to be MMA, so, You know, they should be ready for it. Yeah, he's got to be 2 rounds down. He's been caught with CRISPR shots and he's been hurt. You know, the Biang Tan did get hurt at the end of the first round, but you know, you can't. You know, he's outworked him. You know, yeah, the Uzbek guy. You know, he's not trying to win this fight. What's he? You know, you got to think now. You know, you got to think. You know, I've got 2 minutes left. I'm going to try and take him down or do something. You know, he knows that he's down. It's, you know, it's a sign of an undetermined fighter when they're like this. Is it undetermined or indetermined? It's whatever. But he's just not. You know, hasn't got the vision to try and win. Yeah, I think they do. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say ONE FC does. Come on. It can be frustrating to watch, and you know, when you see fighters like this, and you know you're just like, oh well, clearly he lacks ambition. Yeah, yeah. There are times when I, you know, I wonder, yeah, like, come on, what's going on? One, like, there's been. Why would you yellow card him now? Like, you just broke down the rhythm of the last 30 seconds for no reason. Oh well. Wow. Yeah, come on. So, yes. It would have been really nice if we knocked him out earlier. I didn't want to watch that fight. Oh well. A good knockout at the end. There is a PED testing, or they're supposed to be. Um, I can't think of the name of the board now that are in ONE FC, but they don't do like out of competition testing as far as I know. Like so, where I live, you know, we have you know, the USADA people everywhere. So, uh, man, I've been with like Rafael Fizier, for example. I've been with him and USADA have arrived at the gym to come and test him. I was with Darren Till. Well, I wasn't with him, but I was in the gym with Darren Till, and yeah, USADA came for him too, and ONE FC don't do that kind of thing. So I'm sure that it's a lot easier to get around their drug testing protocol than it is for UFC. But you know, I hear a lot of stuff about UFC's testing too. You know, but there was that guy. Is it Bobby Green and his coach on a Joe Rogan podcast, and they were like, "Oh, I've seen UFC fighters go to pharmacies in Thailand." There is no way that they've seen anyone in Thailand fighting UFC, but like buying steroids. Um, but one, like, yeah, I've seen some of those guys going into going into some of the pharmacies on the road here. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, you know, I wouldn't name any names and whatever, but yeah, there are people definitely using it. Even if they're only using it out of competition, it's still going to have an effect on their recovery and stuff, so they can train harder, like through these off season camps or, you know, out of camp. I mean, the thing is, like, it costs a lot for drug testing, um, and as it is at the moment, this is like the US, One FC's roster is huge, so for them to be testing everybody, but it financially would cost a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, so Raphael's got really good wrestling as well, but what concerns me about Gagey is that Gagey gets hit too often, and Rafa puts people to sleep when he hits them. So, I would definitely, if I was betting money, I'd bet on Raphael, and he's in better shape than I've ever seen him. Actually, like a funny story about Raphael is when he started to come up, he used to train at Phuket Top Team, and I was at AKA Thailand at the time. I was when I first came to Phuket, I was sponsored there for about 3 years, and we both competed in these 8-man tournaments, and they used to run them like every month. Say, like 75 kilo or 80 kilo tournaments, and there were 8-man, so you'd have 3 fights in one night. And there was twice me and Raphael were supposed to fight in them, and one time Raphael, I think he broke his hand or done something to his hand, and then when he got lined up for the second time, I was injured. So yeah, we never fought each other, and then I moved to Tiger, and then Raphael moved there, and yeah, so I see him quite often, and he's got a nice little family. He's a super nice guy, but yeah, I think that he beats Justin Gagey. And I don't think Justin will try and wrestle with him either. I think Justin will try and stand up with him, and yeah, I don't think it goes well for him. Does anyone know if this is one of the nights when I have 2 cards? Last week I didn't realise that there was like one card and then another one straight after. Yeah, because I turned my stream off after the first one that I saw, and yeah. How cool's all the Bruce Lee stuff that they're doing as well? One, I like all that. Yeah, at the time when Raphael was fighting in the stadiums, it was thought of that, like, okay, if you can get the first 2 rounds out of the way, he'll be tired, and the fight, like, he used to blow out, he used to gas, but man, he was knocking people dead. He was like a Tyson, there wasn't a jab in him. He's actually shining now a lot more than he did then with his striking. Because he was so wild, and just used to throw bombs and knock everybody out, and then if he didn't, he used to get tired. But yeah, now you can see that he's working a lot more. His cardio's good, yeah, he's where he needs to be now. I'd like to, like, personal opinion of Conor McGregor aside, when Conor's on form and he's determined, he's been fantastic. From his early career to, I think, probably until he fought Eddie Alvarez, if you watch everything that he did until then, Conor, you could say he's one of the best ever. I don't think his leg's going to be a problem, but I think his cardio will be. He's proven already that he can get tired. And now, he's obviously carrying a lot more mass. So, yeah, and that, it's not going to come off easy, that bit of muscle that he's carrying. And, yeah, I think Chandler throws bombs, doesn't he? it's just going to be who beats who to the first shot, really. I mean, Conor has shown that he's got a chin on him, but he's also shown that he can get dropped really easy. Not easy, but he's shown that he can get dropped, and I think if Chandler catches him, I think he'll jump straight on top of Conor. Yeah. Who do you think from Conor and Chandler? So I think I spoke about. I actually filmed recorded a video that I posted, and then it got taken down with copyright claims. When I've seen people get their legs broken, it's been when, if you look at their, so when you throw a kick, you kind of want to turn your shin all the way over, right? So if this is my foot here, when I kick it, I kind of want my foot to be like this. But what I've seen, the Tyrone Spong did it, and Anderson Silva did it, where they kind of, instead of kicking with their foot rolling over like this, they kind of just kick almost more like a hockey stick, so the toes are still up, kind of. And then when the kick lands like that, your shin's very thin, long ways, but it's very thick this way, right? Like, so you can feel it on your own shin. It's not very thick that way, but deep wise it's thick, and I think that's why I think that they're not as crisp with their technique, and then things like that happen. I've actually never seen a leg break in Thailand, and I've seen them. I've saw one in the UK, but yeah, I've never seen one in Thailand. Yeah, yeah, I agree with what you said. I think, Conor is a sniper. It's actually a great fight for both of them. If you think about it, Chandler's so light and like light on his feet, but I don't know whether I'd say light on his feet, but he's got that nice footwork, and then he's got like great power, but he just throw looping shots. Whereas Conor's more of a sniper, so there's definitely got like if you're playing top trumps, like Conor's like got some points here and Chandler's got some points here where they can both beat each other. If it was a few years ago, I'd say Conor, but we just don't know how Conor's going to be anymore. Unfortunate for him, he's not in a position where he can have warm-up fights. If I was him, or his team, I'd try and bring in some people, maybe from PFL or ONE FC even, and try and get there. It's some gyms will bring in non-disclosure agreements about their sparring. So Conor's in a position where he could bring people in that are professional fighters rather than the sparring partners that you see him with. Bring those in, get them to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and then have like a real, open, a proper open spar that's competitive and more like a fight. I think that because Conor isn't in a position where he can fight and have a warm-up anymore, that would be the way that I'd try and go. And maybe that's what they're going to try and do to see where he is. I know that it risks injury for the fighter, but Conor's been a few years out of the game now. I don't think that they've said what weight it's going to be at properly yet. That they're Conor's actually in Las Vegas now having a meeting with Dana. So I think they're going to discuss things then. I mean, I've seen claims that Conor's 195 pounds, and it's not like he's a Paddy Pimblett 195 pounds. He's he looks like he's still carrying a lot of lean mass. Paddy Pimblett, he can lose weight really quickly because his calories are so high. Probably, it's a horrible thing that he's doing for his health. What Conor used to do really well was use those Taekwondo style kicks to set up his left hand. Like he would like kind of bully you into where he wanted you in the cage. He wanted your back against the cage all the time. And it was like he used to, like, he'd use like a right kick to keep you that way, and then maybe a spinning kick to keep you that way. So like he'd just keep batting you around like that, and then when you were stuck in the middle, that was when he'd let the left hand go. But man, the power that he had in that left hand was amazing. His highlights speak for themselves. When Conor was on form, he was, there's definitely an argument that he was a goat. I think he was. What did I say? Like, he was the only one to beat Khabib in a round. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like from the calorie restriction that he's having to put himself on to lose fights. What he's doing will work for a little while, but I don't think he's not going to be able to keep doing that. Going all the way up. I mean, it means that he's spending weeks of his camp only trying to lose weight. And it just comes down to lack of discipline. There's no reason that he should be eating all that food. It's horrible for his organs and whatever else. The most I used to let myself go over fight weight was like 6 or 7 kilos. So what's that, like 14 pounds maybe? Yeah, Conor's accuracy, was insane. Actually, a guy that surprised me when I sparred with them with their accuracy was a guy that fought in UFC on the weekend. Jack Della Maddalena. I was coaching at Scrappy's MMA in Perth, in Australia at the time, and I sparred with him, and I remember him just tagging me in the liver with a left kick, and I was like, oof. And then he got me again. I was like, oh shit! If he gets me again, he's gonna have dropped me. Okay, let's have a look at this. Nice. Yeah, Revo looks to be very strong. Yeah, he needs to do a little bit more to set up that left kick, just a little feint, He's doing well bringing his head off the centre line as he's throwing that left hand. Nice. He's getting tagged though himself now. Karabang seems to be, seems to be strong himself. He's looks like he's got some power. That was well timed. Nice. Not massively scoring though. Yeah, it seems like they're cutting down the clinch a lot in Muay Thai fights, not just in one, like in general. Even in the Bangkok fights, like Channel 7 and that kind of thing, I imagine it's for entertainment value. Like the clinch just started to dominate for gambling reasons, really. Yeah, so it's kind of it makes it better for spectators to watch without as much clinching. But yeah, the gamblers, I don't think they like it too much. It's funny, the sometimes you'll see kids when they fight in Thailand, that like maybe 10 years old or even younger, and there'll be more money being bet on them than there is on the adults, and it's just because kids won't cheat, kids won't really take a dive, and they're so evenly matched. So yeah, it keeps it interesting for the gamblers. Gambling is of course illegal in Thailand. Yeah, Revo, he's not setting up his work, and he can't be encouraging a guy that I didn't see what weight these are, but I'd assume that they're at least 70 kilos. You can't tell someone like that to hit you. You can't drop your hands to them. Everybody hits hard. Even people that aren't punchers still hit hard at that weight with MMA gloves on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Karabang, he's definitely not. He's not frightened to come forward, is he? But I mean, neither of them are working a huge amount. We see what you'll just see that Karabang was doing was looking at Revo's feet and then kicking high, and that's what I've said before in some videos. I'm like, sometimes it's what you don't see from the outside, but you only see when you're in front of them. Those little tricks. They do work. You kind of, you're looking at your opponent's eyes, and they can trick you. Yeah, in my opinion, they both need to be setting up their work a bit more. That they're both just trying to trade power shots, and it's kind of making a war for no reason. If you're either of these guys, and they're not, they set things up that have more success with landing their power shots for then. Yeah. I mean, to me, it looks like Karabang's taking this round, just because Revo just isn't being active. The the low kicks are definitely having an effect on Revo. It's unusual that you'll see. Yeah, yeah, you see. It's unusual that you'll see Thai's really struggling with their with receiving low kicks like that. They're normally they're very tough. They've already had a couple hundred fights by the time you fought them, and their legs are normally very conditioned. But yeah, Karabang's having a good decent amount of success landing that kick. Yeah. I'd go around the piece, really. I'll give the first round to Revo, second round to Karabang. But I think Karabang's running away with this. The amateur Muay Thai, you see there's the what are they called? Is it the UMF or something like that? There's an international amateur thing that's starting to take off over here. I think it's an attempt to try and get Muay Thai into the Olympics, or I think that's the idea. But you get like people coming from all over the world to come and compete in them. I'm sure they're called UMF or something like that. Yeah, but not in Thailand, really, not really. Like, there's not really an amateur thing. Kids will fight full Thai rules pretty much from their first fights. Yeah. Yeah, mate, there you go. Stopped him. The leg kicks got him in the end. That was a good spot from Karabang. His team saw that. That was something that they, looks like they've prepared for that, to throw that shot. Oh, good for them. It was for me. I think it was Revo was too switched off, and that he was waiting a little bit too much. He started to stop. He's starting a little bit slow at times in the first round, but in the second round there was a lot of waiting, and that's what he's suffered now for that. You've got to be active. Yeah. So was that the main fight of this card, and then there's another card? I'm not sure on what's going on. Let me see. I'm not being rude. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see what's going on. Oh, there is more fights. Okay. Okay, so where are we? Oh wow, there's a lot more fights. Okay. Okay, 112. Okay, I'll just turn the volume up just for a second, just see what's going on. No, I think Revo didn't seem to read the timing right on the kicks. Sometimes he was defending when the kick wasn't there, and then other times he wasn't defending when the kick was coming. So yeah. Oh. It was a nice thing to talk about. He was just I don't know whether you heard, but he was talking about he's Turkish, and he was talking about the earthquake and just saying thank you for, letting him compete and stuff. So that's nice. Wow. 350,000 baht. So what's that, like $10,000, something like that? That was. Mitch Chisholm. Is that the commentator? Let me see. I've got my spare phone out so I can see. Okay, yeah, Mitch the Dragon Chisholm. Yeah, he's okay. Let me see. He was a pioneer in UFC and Bellator, apparently. So he's like 44 now. Yeah, his last fight was in 2013 against Shannon Ruichai. Yeah, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, he had a record of 4-2 with one no contest. It's not massively experienced, but he had his pro debut was in 2010. That's the funny thing is that you speak about like MMA guys like even John Jones. I don't know how many fights he's had. Say he's had 30 fights. Really, that's not a huge amount of experience for fighters. Like even pro boxers, they normally come from quite a long amateur career, and then they're pro. Like, so Tommy Fury saying that he's 8-0 or 7-0, but he had over 100 amateur fights, and that's not unusual. Although Tommy Fury has fought some stinkers as a pro. Yeah. I wish you could fast forward live. Anatole, I don't think anyone's going to beat him for quite a while. I know he's got a match coming up, but I don't think anyone's going to beat him for a while. I think Fabricio Andrade beats John Lineker in their rematch. I think it's such a shame that Demetrius Johnson didn't get the respect that he. Oh, see you later, man. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's sad that Demetrius Johnson didn't get the respect that he deserved in the UFC. He was genuinely very, very good. I think that the next part of the card is mostly Muay Thai. Let's check it out. Yeah, trading DJ for Ben Askren. Did you see Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler? Like, Robbie Lawler's like one of my favourite fighters, and to see him kind of, get robbed like that was kind of sad, So I genuinely don't think Robbie tapped, and I think Askren probably was out. So, oh well. Robbie Lawler's. I was in Vegas for. I was there for 11 months. I was coaching out there a few years ago, and Robbie Lawler came through. He wasn't really training there, and but he did a few sessions, and I remember we were just drilling. So it was like I go, you go, hitting each other's guards, kind of. And I don't like to hold my hands out for people to hit. I'd much rather them. I don't like to hold my hands out like this and people hit them. If we're drilling, I'd much rather them trying to hit my guard, and then we both work at the side. I get to work on my defense while they work on their offense. And I remember Robbie Lawler, like he wasn't putting power into his shots, but he was just turning his hands over. And I remember feeling his punches. I could feel them going through my brain, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" that he's got some serious power, and even Nick Diaz said, like, you know, he doesn't want to get hit by Robbie again. Yeah, and that slam against Askren was insane. You know, he's it's a shame that you know, Robbie, you know, he's that, you know, like, age has to come into things. I didn't want to think about it, but he's one of the guys that when they took TRT out of UFC, Robbie did suffer. You know, obviously I don't know, you know, and he's never tested positive for anything, but, you know, I'm pretty sure if you look through his record, he hasn't done as well since they took out the TRT. Yeah, he had that fight with Brian Barberino, didn't he? That was a few months ago, and he lost that. But yeah, I remember having Robbie on. Like, I started to buy the, like, at the time I couldn't watch UFC live and stuff. You know, when I was at school and stuff, so I used to have to go to HMV and buy the DVDs when they came out. And I think it was either UFC 31 or 33. And there was a UFC 33.5 for some reason. And Robbie was on there, aged 18. And he was killing people then. He had him fighting Chris Lytle and Tiki. Yeah. Just, you know, he was super exciting to watch. Still is, you know, like, still tuning to his fights. Okay, so these guys, 112 pounds, they're on the smaller side. I wonder how, like, ONE FC don't disclose their pay. Like, the UFC kind of disclose how much they've paid out to their fighters, I think. But ONE FC don't do that, and I wonder how much these earn in comparison to fighting on, like, the Thai shows like MX Muay Thai or Max Muay Thai or Thai Fight, you know, whatever. I wonder if they're if it's more when they get to fight on ONE. I wonder why they don't let the coaches go into up the stairs into their corner with them. That's normally when they take off the Monko and do what he's just done here. So I wonder why they do that. Yeah, and it seems like Chachu's just throwing money around, but there's a lot of people that think that ONE can't stay afloat. You know, with the way that he's spending money, so it's interesting. I mean, he just gave that guy a 350,000 baht bonus, so yeah. I wonder, like, if there's any inside side betting going on. That'd be interesting to know. Because guys like that, they can definitely, you know, like, in Bangkok, well, in Thailand in general, the wealthy are very wealthy. So they can, you know, if they're having bets among themselves, I wonder if that's where that money comes from. You know, gambling's illegal in Thailand, so, you know, I don't want to accuse anybody. But, yeah, I wonder if that's what happens. Yeah, it used to be like years and years ago when I first came to Thailand and I was fighting out here. Sometimes you'd fight and all of the gamblers would be in your corner, and, like, they're all, like, shouting different stuff, trying to give you advice, and, you know, like, elbow, you know, trying to tell you what to do. All these random people, and sometimes they throw money in to like they always put a tray into the ring to go underneath your chair or underneath your stool, just so that you don't have all ice and water all over the corner. There'd been money in there, and it was like an incentive, like, oh, if you win, I'll give you more, kind of. And yeah, so sometimes you'd fight and you'd actually earn more money in tips and whatever from fighting than that. The gamblers making money off you than you would by actually your fight purse. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I don't imagine that these lads have done are too highly ranked in the stadiums in Bangkok. They're going to make an entertaining fight, but it's. I think that still Toys would probably prefer to fight in like the like real stadium fights than one maybe. But I like Blue's style. He's on the front foot, aggressive. See his balance there. He's able to stay on balance really well. Nice. Yeah, Blue's got a really nice style, and he's mixing it up. Look, he's got nice hands. He's throwing a variation of kicks, like high and low. Yeah, I'd like to see Blue throw a lead leg kick. It's difficult when you're watching new fighters all the time because you don't know what they do well. But yeah, you can kind of see that Red has a big opening for a left kick to land against his body. See, he's I'd definitely be looking towards throwing a left hook or a left kick to the body on against Red. Ah. That was a good round. You'd have to give that to Blue, right? Like the Red didn't throw too much, I don't think. Yeah, he did some nice quality work. There was one time I noticed that he threw a right kick and then went to throw a right hand over the top because Red corner had got into the habit of catching. It's something that you can do if someone is catching your kicks, like especially your back leg kick. If you kind of not let them catch it, but if you're aware that they're going to catch it, you can kind of dig a right hand over the top, or left hand if you're a southpaw. Yeah, again, it's like City again now, Blue, going forward again. I would really like to see him start to work the body though. The openings are there, the straight right's not landing, but the left hook to the body would be there. Lead leg kicks are. Did, there you go. He's on his way out. Do you mean kicks to the leg, or like kicks coming from the lead leg to the body? No, good. Yeah, I don't think he's going to get back up from there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he just had good success, didn't he? So, like, you know, he started to land, and that was it. Um, yeah, yeah. His variation was good, and it was clever enough. You know, where he wasn't being reckless. No, his opponent was quite a bit taller than him for for the weight. That was a nice combination to finish him. Yeah, you'll see some guys doing it. It's probably more common now than it used to be. I've always liked to throw them, and you get like Buakaw likes to throw them. Superbon likes to throw it too. I think that some people find it more difficult to throw from their lead leg, which is why you might see less of them. But yeah, it is common. But yeah, I mean, definitely back leg kicks are more common. Yeah, exactly that. He did. So what you'll notice as well is that, like in one, you'll see that people get out of the ring as soon as they've lost, and a lot of the time it's to save face. They don't like to be presented as a loser. In UFC, they kind of make them unless they have like an injury or something like that where they have to get out. But yeah, though, yeah, part of the thing in Thailand is that people don't like to lose face, so they'll kind of stay down more than they're actually feeling. If you kind of like, I'm not saying that they take a dive or anything like that, but when they've lost the fight and they've lost by KO like that, they'll stay down and kind of make it look a lot worse than it is, so that they don't have to go into the middle and lose face. Huh. Yeah, so it's in karate and taekwondo. They don't forget they stand a little bit more side on, so they can kind of use it more like like in fencing, like when they kind of stand side on and jab at each other like that. And I feel like that's what's done in karate and taekwondo. Whereas in Muay Thai they're standing a lot more square on, so it's easier to generate power into the back leg than it would be from the lead leg. But there are some guys that are really good at it. Like it's one of my favourite weapons, just because it's hard to throw, but it's also hard to defend against properly. Well, I gave him a bonus, so that's nice. Yeah, yeah. I actually came from a point karate background. I trained that from when I was 5 until I was 14, and that was when I started to do Muay Thai. And actually, it took a long time to be able to change the kicking style. I'm sure that if you watch karate and taekwondo, the kicks tend to be a bit more flicky. That they're not trying to smash all the way through their target. So yeah, actually learning how to kind of throw all of your weight into a kick, but it took a while for me. But yeah, what I really like about karate and particularly me, I haven't trained taekwondo myself, but like I've watched it. But what I like about karate especially is the attention to technique. So even doing their katas and well, everything, like all of their basic work, you'll see them like doing I don't know if you do karate yourself. Like, you'd have to tell me, but you'll see them like just standing in one punch for a long, long time. And then I'll step through and go to the other side, and they'll hold that for a long time as well. And I really like that attention to detail. You know, they try and get everything perfect. It's something that, like, on Facebook, I get recommended these videos all the time, and I see like American sport karate, and they do katas, but they use like they use all different weapons and stuff, and you can see that they're just not having the time where they're really learning the basics and like holding these positions for a long time. That the crispness isn't the same. It's still impressive to see. You're like, wow, you know, they can do all this stuff, but it's more of a gymnastic performance, in my opinion. Man, Chatri must be loaded. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where his money comes from either. He's supposed to be self-made, but when he said some things, and I'm like, that. Well, a poor man in Thailand doesn't have the things that you're saying that you had as a child. Let's see if I can see his net worth. 350 million US dollars. So he's doing all right. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. The snap kicks are fast. Now and again, I'd use a lead one just to like throw up to the head, just because it's so fast. Like just like even competing in Muay Thai, I'd do that sometimes, and it's like you know, just if someone's here, just brings up that threat that like, okay, you can get hit here, and it's sort of a reminder to keep their guard up, and then you can focus on the rest of their body a little bit more. Oh yeah, Mirko Cro Cop. I mean, you got to think he was an exceptional athlete. You know, he could do everything well. He's so strong. Yeah, I mean, and his kicks, but you've also got to take into account like the weight of him. You know, he's a heavyweight, and you know, he wasn't a small heavyweight either. So the fact that he could kick the way that he did, you know, was, you know, he's, you know, really was a special guy. You know, was it Gabriel Gonzaga that did the same kick back to him and knocked him out? It was, wasn't it? Then Gabriel Gonzaga just didn't do much after that. But well, I mean, Gabriel Gonzaga did. He was in the UFC for a while, but that was his like big achievement, was that he'd outkicked the kicker kind of. Yeah, he was a Mirko Cro Cop. He was a policeman, wasn't he? That was the Croatian cop. That was where the Cro Cop thing came from, I think. But yeah, I used to. If you watched like the heavyweight K1 early days, there was a few like really good guys, like the heavyweights that could throw kicks like that. Alexei Ignashov was one of my favourites. They used to call him the Red Scorpion. Yeah, you have to let me know if you've heard of him, but I used to love him. He used to come in like very, you know, just very relaxed, and I think it was known that he had an alcohol problem, and people used to say that he used to drink a lot before he fought, so that might be why he was so relaxed. But you know, he used to knock a lot of people out with these head kicks that just come out of nowhere. No, he wasn't. I mean, he was sort of past his prime, I guess, when he got into UFC. But, you know, you got to kind of wonder about, like, the drug testing and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, is that why Fedor was never in UFC? Maybe drug testing was more strict than he was used to. Wanderlei Silva was a murderer in Pride, and then UFC didn't really have the same success. Yeah, Ernesto Hoost, you know, he was, well, you know, he's still known as being like the best leg kicker, isn't he? Yeah, I liked Ernesto Huster. Like, he was a very class act. I met him in, I think, 2005. Might have been 2006. It was something like that. And super nice. We'd gone to, it was, I think, Glory 5 or 6. My friend was fighting on that card. And yeah, Remy Bonyaski versus Tyrone Spong. I think that was 2006. I could be wrong. But yeah, met Ernesto Hus there, and he was super nice, really nice guy, and yeah, I've met a few of those guys now. I trained briefly with Ray Safo in Vegas. Mark Hunt has been out to Phuket quite a lot of times. Him and his team. He's got some good guys around him. Who else? Gokhan Saki, I've met him. He was really nice. He came into AKA while I was there. He was looking to fight MMA at the time, so yeah, he was, good. But I don't think he did too well in MMA. Yeah, I don't remember enough, but yeah, he was good. I'd agree with you about Rob Kamen. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, talking about like that era, Rob Kamen. I think he takes it. I think Remy Bonyaski was probably my favourite to watch from that kind of time though. If you're looking at the K1, like early K1, like what was it, 99, 2000, 2001, something like that. It was interesting for me, seeing a difference of styles. I think Bonyaski probably fought for a little bit too long. It's crazy that Badr Hari stuck around as long as he has. I don't even think he's officially retired yet. But he fought all of those guys too. They break the clinch very early in one, don't they? They're definitely trying to cut it down. Yeah. See, Lawrence was doing a good job there of pushing her opponent's head away and then bringing her onto an elbow. Yeah, Rico Verhoeven. Yeah, he's another guy that's been around for a long time, and still good though, isn't he? Like, they're not getting to say that all they do is strike. It's not like they're ending up chinny like a lot of the MMA guys do, like what happened to Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. I think when people think that the combo style doesn't work, it's because the smaller gloves hit harder, right? I think that's where that thinking comes from. But I think you should still definitely prepare to be throwing combinations, just because when you're in a fight, I don't fights like this. People should just take a knee and let themselves get counted. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, there is a lot of Nat Muay Phalanx from the UK. It's strange, actually. It's only been more recently that it seems to be like not as much representation from France or Australia. It's been pretty much all UK and Russian tonight, hasn't it? But yeah, what I was saying about throwing combinations, the Dutch combinations that people don't think work in MMA is they think that there's no point in practicing things that you're not going to throw in a fight. But I spoke about this on the Hitting Pads Like a Pro video that I did. If you only prepare to throw one or two shots, when you fight, you'll only ever prepare to throw one or two shots. Whereas if you prepare to throw like bigger combinations, you've got that like kind of muscle memory for when you do need to throw combinations, because you're not always going to get these one shot knockouts, so you're not always going to get one shot, won't always get the job done. So yeah, I think you should prepare to, work on your single shot power, but also be working with your combinations too. They didn't want to interview her. Okay. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone that's coming from PK Sanchai Gym, they're all pretty decent, aren't they? Where are you from, Disgruntled? You might have said and I've forgotten. My memory's terrible. I'll just turn the volume up for 1 second. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. Okay, I'm back. Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah, I remember you saying that you're from California. Yeah, I like California. It's a cool place, man. I really liked Santa Monica when I was there. That was cool. Yeah, no, there's some good like the Aussie guys used to, a few years ago they were all like up there, just because I think it's so close to Thailand that they like the John Wayne Parr and all them, and obviously Andy Hug that you mentioned earlier, or Aussie, but you'd see like quite a few fighting in Max Muay Thai and stuff, and they did well. There was a guy from I think his name was Willie Whipple. He's an American guy. I think he's from California too. We've got a German. Or is that Belgium? It's such a shame that they don't put up the records on here. They've got that. They've had that problem recently. One with the Muay Thai officials not being happy with them, saying that it's Muay Thai, but then they're using MMA gloves and stuff. They're not happy about that. So yeah, man, California's so big. So like I've travelled around Europe a little bit, from the UK, where the furthest that I'll drive ever would be like maybe 40 minutes to go somewhere, just because it's so small. But like in California, man, like even in Vegas, which is not as spread out as California, it's like a 40-minute drive to go to a restaurant, then 40-minute drive again to go to a gym, then a 40-minute drive to go somewhere else. And California, man, I was wow. And then the traffic too. The traffic's crazy, man. Like in LA and stuff. Yeah, I don't know how you do it, bro. So, are you from South California? Are you SoCal? It's the Sacramento, right? That's where Alpha was it the Cody Garbrandt and those guys. Is that Team Alpha Male? Are you near there? I've got a friend that actually trained with Rob Kyman. He lives in West Hollywood. His name's Charles Bissett. He might have even trained. I don't remember what Jimmy trained at, but I'm sure it was. I'm sure that he'd been to King's Gym. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh man. A big drive either way, right? Do you compete in? Have you fought Muay Thai yourself, or do you just you just train in striking, or like what do you like to do? Yeah, my ex girlfriend was good friends with Cody Garbrandt's wife, I think maybe ex-wife now. So a few times like we hung out and stuff, and Cody was a real cool guy. Cody was an amazing striker. It's a shame that I feel like TJ Dillashaw really derailed his career. I think with his using if he's using EPO, he would have been using other stuff. I think, and definitely gave an edge over Cody. Um, and of course he got to knock Cody out twice before he got caught. So I don't think Cody's been the same fighter since. Well, that's all you need, man. Yeah, that's it's good that you're finding out channels like this, and you're asking questions the way that you do, and you build up your own knowledge like that as well. Yeah, I mean, what a great way to get through the pandemic, man. That was a crazy time. I heard it was pretty crazy in California too. Um, so I had I was fighting, I was competing for years, and then I got knocked off my scooter. I was in Chiang Mai, and I got knocked off my scooter by a drunk driver, um, and I damaged my shoulder quite badly. Then I left Thailand to go back to the UK and get surgery on my shoulder and stuff, and I got that done, but it took a long time. So by the time that everything I'd had surgery and recovered and stuff, the muscles and everything and the tendons got really tight, and I still don't have like full range back in my shoulder. So I came back out to Thailand to start training Muay Thai again, and I lost faith in my own abilities, I suppose, like with the restricted right arm. Um, so yeah, I just do a lot of strength and conditioning. Really, I still hit pads a few times a week if I can, and I still enjoy sparring. And I toy the idea of fighting all the time, but I'm older now, and it's been a few years since I've fought, and like, without blowing my own trumpet, everybody knows in Paquette kind of knows who I am, so I wouldn't have like a warm up fight back, which would be a luxury after 5 years away from fighting or wherever it's like 4.5, 5 years now. Absolutely, man. The thing is that martial arts really work your mind too. Yeah, not much to see there. Like, not much of a score. TI did well to get out of the way of that then. It was nice. Yeah. That's if he lands just a couple more of those low kicks, I think it's going to be over. The way that he was throwing them then, he's landing with some power. Yeah, you're right, and you do have to commit, and you have to surrender yourself to the system. I like to say, and do what your coaches are telling you, and like even though sometimes you feel like you might know better, sometimes you need to really surrender yourself to the system and get through the camps. And that wasn't really a score then, but that just landed the T. But yeah, and at the moment, I don't feel like my body would survive a proper, like a 3 or 4 week training camp. Yeah, foreigners, it's like they have like a big arsenal, but they're not content with just working on the basics. It's like they'll practice a load of stuff in the gym, and then like they'll try and use them in a fight when they're getting a bit desperate. Sometimes I'll get baffled, but like someone will be exhausted and then start spinning in a fight. It's like, but why would you do that? You're using like high energy attacks, and a state where you're already losing. Ti was doing some nice work. If he continues to work that low kick, he's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up finishing the fight. It's very rare that you'll see a spinning like a spinning kick or anything uh, really be effective in a Muay Thai fight. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't let him out for the second round because the leg was compromised. I think, yeah, I think those kicks did some damage. I didn't even realise that it was cut. I mean, well, I saw that it was cut. I didn't realise it was that bad. I didn't think that a doctor would stop it. Yeah, he just sneaked an elbow through the clinch. But I'd like to see a replay of it again. Um, that's the thing with elbows is people think that you have to land with big power, and you don't. You just need to touch someone. Your elbow's so sharp and hard that, like, just it touching against your bone, like across here or above your eyebrows, it'll cut you. Um, of course, if you land with power, it's good as well, but you don't need to. Yeah, just a sneaky little elbow through the clinch. Smart. It's right. Sometimes if you find yourself stuck in a clinch and you can't push your way out of it, uh, some people like to clinch. I don't. So, like, whenever I used to get caught in a clinch, I'd try and push their face away, and then if that didn't work, I'd pull myself in and try and put my head next to theirs, and then that way they can't elbow you. I'll just turn the volume up for a second.
ก็อยากสร้างสีสันในรายการวันครับเพื่อจะได้มีกระแสตอบรับที่ดีต่อผมและต่อรายการด้วยครับครับผม
I want to put on a very fun entertainment for One Championship and for me. So there's a lot of traction to the One Championship here. It's a global event. It was a lot of fun. I saw you having a lot of success with the hand combinations and the low kicks. But once you got inside that clinch, that elbow was all she wrote. Is that what you had in mind in your game plan?
ก็ตอนแรกนะครับพี่มีการใช้การเตะแล้วก็ใช้หมัดเข้าหาแต่พอเราใช้ศอกแล้วดูว่าคู่ต่อสู้ในเริ่มเลือดไหลแล้วเนี่ยคิดว่าน่าเป็นการปิดเกมหรือยังครับ
I love hearing the Thai fighters speaking after they fought. They're always so soft spoken, and they never really talk the way that like Phalangs do, where Phalangs will kind of talk down about their opponents sometimes, and Thai people don't really do that.
Well, you definitely got that knockout very fast. But you know what you also got? How about 350,000 baht from the CEO of One
Wow, another 350,000 baht. So like, yeah, it's about $10,000. Yeah, you're right. I mean, was it Stefan Leko? I think also it was another guy that did well. There's a guy that came up through the UK scene a few years ago that was a heavyweight. I think he did well in the K1 Battle of Britons, which were around 99, 2000 and 2001, I think. But yeah, in general, it's not. When they're fighting like guys like this, it's really difficult to catch him out with something like that. Next, got another PK Sanchai guy coming up. Man, Sage Northcutt. He was one that came in from the UFC, and he got knocked out pretty badly in his first fight. Sage Northcutt was an insane athlete, absolutely peeled and so athletic. And the fastest finishes. Wow. Oh. Turn the volume up just for a sec. Man, those elbows landing when someone's head's against the mat, it's horrible. Yodgikao. Super nice guy. Is he still fighting? I know that he fought last year. I think he might be finished now. Yeah. I mean, Sage Northcutt, he's very athletic, isn't he? And he's got that, real, I know that, he's, Taekwondo is it's Korean, right? But, what the Americans have done with it is make it, very flashy and, like almost gymnastic, and like Sage Northcutt was great with all that. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? So like, yeah, he could do it all, but yeah, not really use it in a fight. Who's the? I think he's a middleweight guy that's like a capoeira stylist. They say Alex Pereira, but it's not. It's something Pereira, I think. And he's good with all that stuff, like real flashy stuff. But the problem is, it's so high energy that like the cost, the cost, you know, it isn't always really worth the risk compared to something that can be more effective at a less energy cost, and you know, safer as well. Yeah, that's it, Michael Pereira. Thank you. Yeah, I like it. I like his style. It's very fun to watch. But yeah, he's a big guy, and those kicking like that and doing what he does, you know, it comes at a big cost. He's carrying a lot of muscle to be doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're right, man. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. The way Lee knockout was a shock, wasn't it? That was I mean that's a, you know, that's a like more of a karate or taekwondo style move that still works well in Muay Thai. Like I was saying earlier, I've thrown it a few times before when I've been fighting somebody and they've just let their glove drop a little bit, and because you can throw it up so quickly. You know, again, came from a karate background, and you like the amount of time that you spend working on these techniques like over and over again. It never really leaves you. You know, like I'm sure that you can still do like a decent kata and stuff, even when you weren't working on your martial arts. I'm sure you could still do things that look right, even when you were just doing your S&C that you were saying. And the PK Saenchai gym are putting out some great fighters. But I mean, in all fairness, just Bangkok is just a nest of like really good fighters. So yeah, so many good gyms around. You know, it's kind of surprising. Like then you'll still get some guys that will kind of come through from like, say you got all these top guys in Bangkok, and then you'll get the odd person that will come through and just get through them, like Liam Harrison did, like, you know, during his career, that was from a gym in the UK that was good, you know, didn't really have like any like great trainers, like without being offensive to the Bad Company gym. I can't think of his name now, but the owner, I'm not, you know, trying to put him down, but he didn't have like the extensive background that some of these guys do, but for whatever reason they managed to get their way through and do what they do and do well against like top guys. Yeah, I was wondering that myself. I feel that part of the problem that I realised with Muay Thai when I was fighting was there wasn't like, there's so many world titles already, and then it's like, well, you know, like the chances are I wouldn't have fought in Lumpini back then. I wouldn't have got to like the top Lumpini guys because my style didn't fit Lumpini style too well. Like back then, it was very clinch heavy. And it was like, well, so what's the goal here? Because then you're just going to be fighting people for the sake of fighting people, and the real hope was to fight someone like Borkow, and then you can retire, and then you can, you know, just teach seminars. Really, that ends up becoming a goal. But you know, whereas I don't think the Thais really have an end goal, because it's their job, right? Like, it's like, you know, if you're a builder, your goal is to keep building houses. Whereas for these Muay Thai guys, their goal is to fight. You know, and you know, it's a strange thing. You know, it's difficult for us to really figure it out, I suppose, and relate to it the same way. But as long as they're fighting, they're happy, I guess. You know, it's interesting that you see people now getting like a longer career, like people like Nongo and stuff. You know, in Thailand, those guys at that age would have been, you know, just fighting in local stadiums maybe, or just coaching people. But that for now, you know, because of one, they can continue to have these longer careers. Like Nongo's 36, I think. No, no. I mean, like, even like the Lumpini thing now is changed because of like what happened during COVID and whatever. It's just not the. Wow. Yeah, he's not going to get back up. That was fast. Just got the right hand in over his left arm. It just came off from an angle that got him. Good for him. That was nice. Good shot. Yeah. So I think with you know, it's sad. You know, you like even guys from like the golden era. Yeah, and that's the difference with small gloves, right? Like they do get these shots through. It didn't even, like, it was kind of like off the side of the head, really. Oh. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the difference with small gloves. A good fight. You know, I'd hope that one, you know, even after all this, like, you know, that they've got Lumpini for a year, so I'd hope that they keep on some of these Thai guys from like the smaller things, you know. I think Rodtang would still be doing well. I mean, Nongo, like who knows? I mean, he's at a very competitive weight division, but I think Nongo would. You know, if you look at his record right before he went into one, he was still winning, and he was still fighting at Lumpini. But yet the stadium scene now isn't what it used to be. So like, you know, it is what it is. But you know, like the same light isn't being shone on the Lumpini guys that used to be. I mean, part of it is that it's not as spectator friendly. You know, in my opinion, because they're all so good that they cancel each other out a lot. Yeah, so the small gloves do change a lot, and as well as that, if you look at Thai fight, they have Kar Chuk, which is where they have like bandages over their hands, which is that it's interesting to watch. But I feel like I still personally prefer to see big gloves, because I think you get a more competitive fight that way. But I mean, I'm also a fan of that kind of fighting, but like it almost feels like people don't trade shots as much in MMA gloves. And honestly, I know that the difference between a 4 ounce and an 8 ounce glove is, it's an 8 ounce glove is double the size, right? But the way that they wrap their hands in Thailand isn't the way that you'd see it in the US or in Europe. They put tape on first, and you build up like a decent layer of tape across your knuckles and stuff, and it's pretty solid. And then they put a little bit of bandage on your hand, and then they'll put more tape on it. So you end up with like a pad from your knuckle that's maybe like this, and it's solid. So it's almost like you've got a cast on underneath your glove. So like, even though the glove is thicker, your hand is still as hard, and it's like it's as hard bouncing off your head when someone punches you. Yeah, that's why I think that they don't. I don't think that one score Muay Thai the same way as like Muay Thai is scored, like traditional Muay Thai is scored. Yeah, because the punches are more effective. Yeah, gotta feel bad for Angela Lee. She's just lost her younger sister. Ugh. Anything that looks like leg locks, really frightens me. I haven't done much BJJ. When MMA first started to get popular in the UK, I was already at a stage where I was, sort of making my name for myself on the UK scene, and I was trying to get established there. And then I found that I'd go to like an MMA gym and train BJJ and get strangled by a guy that was much smaller than me, and it really messed with my ego. That you kind of need to feel confident to perform well, I think. And well, me personally anyway, I did. And then I couldn't take losing every day on the mat and then try and win a fight on the weekend, if that makes sense. Looking back, I wish that I'd have started doing ground stuff earlier on. But yeah, just different timing. I'm looking forward to this rematch. It'll be a good fight. I really like Fabrecio's style, smart. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like, well, do you want to win the fight that you're in or not? Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, street fight wise or self defense wise, then yeah, leg locks probably aren't the thing to do. But I think that most BJJ gyms have a thing where they don't really show you leg locks until you're a little bit more advanced. Yeah, I mean, maybe no gi gyms will show you it straight away, kind of. But I'm not all that experienced. But I think that they don't normally teach leg locks to people like below blue belts or purple belts, whatever it is. Which is pretty funny. looking back at like the early UFC DVDs that you used to buy. Eddie Bravo used to put on like a submission for the for the like for in like the bonus additional content thing, and I remember on there like he had one of the submissions that he took was a heel hook, which is of course like super dangerous, you know, and it's one of those things where you don't feel it. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything, and then your knee and whatever pops. And me and my friends, like, you know, I was maybe 14 or so at the time, we're just like practicing on each other, like these heel hooks. And of course, we were all walking around with limps and stuff at the time, and you know, yeah, it's pretty funny. That there was one DVD I had that had heel hooks and another one with triangles. So yeah, just pretty funny. The fucking dangerous thing to be showing kids how to do. So what do you think? Do you prefer the small gloves or the big gloves for Muay Thai? Okay, yeah, I didn't know that leg locks were banned in judo. But yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and of course, like, you know, you injure your knee or something, that can stay with you for life. Yeah, I don't like to see them, but you know, they're effective, right? So whatever, like, if that's the thing that you want to do, then that's a sport that you're in. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would never. I mean, there are times I'm sure that sparring in small gloves is worth it if you know, if that's your, you know, for practicing your defense and stuff, then yeah, sure. But you know, I always get a bit shocked when I see people sparring in small gloves. What are you doing? Like, I've seen Conor McGregor sparring with small gloves on. I'm like, it's crazy. Just risking injury for no reason. I mean, if you can land a shot in a 14-ounce glove, you can land it in a 4-ounce glove too. You know. Yeah, some of the gyms out here, you know, you've got to have either a 14 or a 16-ounce glove to spar with. They don't let you spar in small. Even some Muay Thai gyms I go to, and like, there's people that try and spar with a 10-ounce glove, which is, you know, the fighting that's a fighting weight glove. If you're 70 kilos or above, then you're like 155. Then you have to wear 10 ounce. Below that is 8 ounce. But yeah, you see people trying to spar in them. I'm like, there's no way you spar me with them on. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you've seen is that the fighters obviously aren't getting oil down before they fight like they would in a stadium. Like, in general, if you go to a Thai stadium, you won't see people hitting pads before they fight. They have a massage from their trainers with the Lanam Muay is Muay Thai oil, and it's that hot stuff, almost like Tiger Balm or something. They cover you in it, and it burns. I hate it. And yeah, they rub you down, and that's how you warm up. You might shadow box a little bit before you go in, but in one, it looks like they're not allowed to use oil. So yeah, it looks like they must be hitting pads in this, which is a good idea if you're going to be fighting 3 rounds instead of 5. Okay, who have you got for this? Red or blue? Okay, so he's from Super Bond's new gym. Okay, so this is Southpaw versus Orthodox, so you can see that they won't be using much jabs between them. Like what they're doing now with their lead hands is just checking the range. When you get a Southpaw versus Orthodox, they both have to lead with their rear side to be effective. And to be more effective, that you'll see a little battle for who can get their foot on the outside of their opponent. That means that then they're in range to kind of land their shots that way. So if they come apart from each other, just keep an eye on their feet, and you'll see that what's going on. They're having like a little bit of a thing where they'll step on the outside of each other's foot and then throw a shot. It wasn't intentional. I don't think he meant that. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised when I came to Thailand and used one of the cups that they have. You know, I was used to like a normal jock strap or like a compression cup thing. In Thailand, they use it's a metal cup, but it has like 3 bits of string. You get one from each side and one that goes between your legs, so it's kind of like a thong. And yeah, that was I remember how weird that felt for me at the time. So they get their foot on the outside of their opponent. Even if they're just standing in front of them, it means that they can land from their rear side. And this is turning into a war already. Like these two are going for it. See that elbow just sneak through there. It's a similar elbow to what worked against the guy earlier in the card. So that's the thing with elbows. That to cut somebody, they only just need to touch. I mean, like obviously hasn't cut this guy, but they will. Wow. It's a very close fight so far. So yeah, so want to use the must system, so can't be a draw at the end of the round. I'd probably have to give that one to the blue corner. Yeah, they do seem even. This is a well-matched fight. It's competitive. Those kicks are nice. I really like to see when kicks land across the forearm or the wrist. It's so much. It's so effective. It can really slow someone's hands down. It's safer. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, I think blue did just edge it. They're both doing really good work, though. Yeah. See, blue wants to get a fight going. Yeah, he didn't knee him when he was down there. That's why he's just putting his hands up saying that he didn't do it. But yeah, Thais will quite often do that. They'll kind of step over you when you're down. That was a nice defense that Red just tried to use, using his shin across his opponent's body. Looks like Blue might just be starting to get tired. I mean, it's been a high work rate. Oh yeah, left hand just leaked over the top of his guard. Then it's an interesting fight. Yeah, they're both looking a little bit fatigued now. I think they've both had moments where they thought they could get the other one out of there. Ah, that elbow got him. Wow, Blue having his own success with his hands. This is a good fight. Oh, yeah, Red, doing really well, getting his left hand over the top now. I think that might have just won the round for Red then. Yeah, I'd say that this is probably a round apiece. But yeah, not much in it. I wouldn't be upset either way if they gave both of those rounds to Blue, because he did have his own success. It's just that I think Red landed a few better shots. I feel like when you sat in the judge's seat, some of this kind of, when you see them really close together, it kind of becomes a blur. So when you get something like he caught his leg and then swept him and he landed flat on his back, that's like one of the only things that you can clearly see that Red got the upper hand. So if you're there, you would give it to Red, because everything else seems pretty even. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it comes down to angles and stuff from where they're sitting. Yeah, like I said, Blue had some good success with his hands. And he did land a few elbows himself. Yeah, it just turns into a bit of a blur for the judges when they're sat there. There's a lot in this round though that someone needs to, really get clearly ahead. They're both working for it too, so that's good to see. Sometimes you'll see ties sort of coast through the last round, being respectful to each other, whereas these two are still fighting. Little thing that he did was nice. He caught his kick and then brought him onto a knee. It's impressive. That's nice. The kick that landed across Blue's back then, that hurts a lot when that happens. It doesn't look like much when it gets you across the lower back. You feel it in your kidneys and your liver. And there's a horrible second when you might think that you've just been paralysed. mean, both of them still very determined. I would think that the real score of this round will be done in this last minute. See, that's it. Even though not massively scoring, that was a good look for blue. And red gets him back. So, you know, you can tell, but sometimes by looking at the corner of, particularly ties, because ties are so animated, you can tell what their corner think about whether they're winning or losing. They're still encouraging red to fight. So. Yeah, so then you'd think, well, okay, so they want him to fight, they want him to win. Yeah, so that would mean that, you know, they think that he hasn't done enough just yet. Yeah, that was yeah. Neither of them could pull ahead, could they? And you know, a lot of respect for each other between them. Personally, I would give that to red. But you know, it's one of those things where you can't. Like, you've got to understand on both sides of, like, if a judge would score this one for blue, you can understand it, right? Like, so it's not. It's yeah, it's a bit of a funny fight like that. Yeah, I'd give that to red. I think he landed a few cleaner strikes. Yeah, and not much in it at all. But yeah. Who would you have given that one to? I think that was probably the best fight of the night so far. Actually, I enjoyed that. It was a fun one. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so they gave it to red. You know what? Split decision, so someone gave it to blue. And honestly, I can see why. You know, so like I said, if you're a judge at these fights, you're all sat at different stations around the ring, so you're gonna kind of see different stuff. So, you know, good fight, and this is why what I like about Muay Thai as well is like, records aren't as important. It's who you've had a good fight with that they care about. And like, yeah, red won, but blue didn't really lose anything by losing that fight. It's not like he, you know, among ties he wouldn't have lost any face or anything like that. Yeah, the fight. Yeah, I like the 5-judge system too. It makes a lot of sense. Let's turn this up a little bit, see what he's saying.
One thing me and Gianni were talking about is how accurate you were. What do you think was the biggest factor in you winning this match here tonight? ก็วันนี้นะครับเราก็มองเห็นว่าพี่มีอาวุธที่แม่นยำจริงๆแต่อะไรคิดว่าเป็นเหตุผลหลักที่ทำให้ชนะในวันนี้ครับ
So they're just praising his accuracy. Yeah, I mean, it was just a good fight, wasn't it? And you know, when you got two guys at a very similar level on a must system, and someone has to win, then you know, sometimes you get these fights where this happens. And
Right here, Namsak Noi in your corner. What aspects of your training were so
Yeah, so he's got Namsak Noi in his corner, who's considered to be one of the best, one of the best of all time. So So this is what one of the.
My fist, my elbow, my kick, I train everything. I train really, really hard.
I like how the translator's giving his delivery. He's like really trying to put emphasis on what the fighters are saying, but the fighters aren't saying it with that same like kind of like energy. So it's kind of funny to see. Yeah, I mean they were happy to work everywhere. I think but they were they were competitive everywhere, and I think just how their ranges matched up, that it ended up that they were clinching a lot. Okay, so next fight's the last fight of the night: Kong Klai versus Super Ball. So in that guy's corner was Namsak Noi, who's considered to be one of the best ever, and so this guy, and he was Lumpini champion, whatever else, and I'll talk about Fasachon, who's a guy that I know. I've trained with him a lot. Who was Lumpini and Rajadamnern and Thailand champion. He was fighter of the year. Honestly, a great, like sometimes would consider him to be one of the best of all time. Certainly the best Teep. So like they call him Lightning Teep, and he, like, for as great a career that he had, he retired, and then that just left him in a state where he's just now a coach. And he doesn't charge any more than any of the other coaches. If you go to Tiger Muay Thai, you can go and train with him. It'll cost you the same, I don't know, 600, 700, 800 baht to train with him as it would with anybody else. I just think there's something sad about that, if compared to like goats of boxing, for example. If you were to go and have a PT with Mike Tyson, like, you wouldn't pay the same for PT with Mike Tyson that you would with like your local like area champion, like a Northern State champion or something like that. And there's something sad about that, I think. Kong Klai, the guy that's coming up, I've heard of him, but I've never seen him fight, and I haven't seen the other guy fight before either. But I've heard of Kong Klai. So should be a fun one. Has anyone seen? Have you seen these guys before? Or is it their like debut in one or something? I'm not really sure. Yeah, so it said that they've both fought at Lumpini before. Yeah. Yeah, I think Chatri's here to stay. I think that was the hope of putting on Muay Thai at the same time as MMA. I think that it was my hope anyway that like people would watch MMA, like watch UFC and stuff, and then realise that what they like to see was actually the Muay Thai part. But for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked out like that yet. I know that like more people know what Muay Thai is now than when I was a kid. Like, not many people knew what it was. But, now that there is more of an awareness, but unfortunately the wages for fighters still isn't great. MMA guys complain, boxers complain, and You know, they'll have no idea how little that Muay Thai fighters make. You know, I had about, I don't even know how many fights I had in the UK, and there were times I didn't even get ticket commission for selling tickets. I never really made any money from fighting in the UK at all. You're fighting like Max Muay Thai or whatever. Max a few years ago, probably 2013 maybe. That was when like Max was sort of at its pinnacle, and that was when like you wanted to fight in there. And if you fought in Max, you were good compared to what it turned into, where they were just taking everybody in. And even then, you'd get paid 25,000 baht, and then there were chances for bonuses if you knocked out your opponent, or they used to put in like if you knock your opponent out with a flying knee, you'll get an extra so much money. But yeah, so that was the most that you'd sort of get paid in Muay Thai was like 25,000 baht, and then you'll get like maybe 15,000 baht bonus. So what's that? £1,000 English. So like $1,400 is what you probably get paid for a fight at the highest in Thailand. Yeah, I mean that sounds right. It definitely could be doing that. It'd make a lot of sense. Joe Rogan talks about ONE FC a lot, which is it is good. The draw Americanise 2-1. One actually gets more viewers than UFC does. It's just the way that it's monetized isn't the same. It's like Thailand doesn't really have like a pay-per-view system the same the way that the US does. So I think that they've always hoped that like it'd take off in the US, but it hasn't as yet. And I think that even if it did at the moment, I don't understand how they'd monetize it the same. But yeah, they get a lot of viewers. I think that I'm pretty sure that I read that ONE FC gets more viewers than UFC does. Should be an interesting fight though. I'm sure that like between these two, there's probably like anywhere between 500 to 1,000 fights between them. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. Yeah, it really confuses me that people haven't taken to things like Glory or K1 the same way that they have done with MMA. I think that what UFC does really well is tells a story, and that's something that hasn't been done as much with like the Muay Thai stuff. I mean, I would have loved for Dana White to have taken over something like Lion Fight or something like that, and that would be interesting. Like, imagine if he worked something with the UFC where he'd take like I don't know, like just put Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane in a kickboxing match. That'd be interesting, right? Like, who wouldn't want to see that? Like, all the UFC fans would want to see. I just think that'd be fun. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But the K1 didn't survive. I think the K1 used to. I think it was a very expensive production, and then it ended up that some fighters didn't get paid, and then I had a lot of issues and stuff, and then Buakaw actually exposed the corruption in K1 a few years ago when he fought Enrico Kell in K1. So there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Yeah, so yeah, I mean the UFC is so big now that that everything's kind of behind that. Even WWE, which was bigger for years and years. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, it'd be cool to see, like, everybody, right? Like, Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier in a boxing match. You could do so much stuff that you could do. And then still have the MMA as well. I don't know. It'd be cool to see, like, a super fight league or something like that. I just like it when they play with rules a little bit, like that. Like I said about Rodtang and DJ before, that was interesting to see, and you could just see the tactics. It was like even a complete casual could be like, oh, okay, like that. You can see what was going on. It's good that they let the last guys on the cards do a wide crew. It can be a bit frustrating for casuals to watch when people are just doing wide crews a bit before every fight, so I understand why they do it that way. Have you got for this one, red or blue? It's a slip. Wow, I mean they both look very sharp. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with what you're saying about Adesanya and Pereira. Yeah, that's what it's like. Okay, let's get two kickboxers and get them to fight MMA and see what happens. I'm interested to see the rematch though. Adesanya has got everything that it takes to beat Pereira. It's just that Pereira, every time that they've met before, has had his number. I mean, their kickboxing matches were good to watch. Doing a good job of controlling the clinch, but like by pushing his head to the side like that, pushing his arm just underneath his chin. It's an effective way to sort of neutralise the clinch. Yeah, I think Izzy probably is a favourite, but Pereira looks much bigger when they're in there. I think Pereira's probably got every intention of going up to 205 straight after. I think that was what was said. It's seeing some nice clinching work going on here. It's yeah, exactly. Nice framing. Wow. Yeah, I mean, these two are going for it. Another, again, very well matched fight. Yeah, that was nice work there. That was by both of them. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, when you say it like that, you know, there is a big size difference between Pereira and Izzy. Yeah, you know, Izzy. It just feels like, yeah, that's where the difference is that, you know, Izzy's just maybe just a little bit underpowered compared to Pereira. But Izzy, you know, still got some solid knockouts at middleweight. And I think Izzy's actually a better champion than Pereira. I think Pereira's a lot more limited, I would say. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Izzy, you know, if you watch their second kickboxing fight in particular, you know, he was winning the fight right up until he got knocked out. The first fight, I think Izzy probably won, but he lost on points. That was nice. So, look, Blue is placing his kicks really well. I'm not sure if he actually dropped him there or what that was. Red thinks that he shouldn't have really been counted for that, but see some really good clinch work though. Wow, wow, you got him. He'll do well if he recovers from this. Wow, Blue's doing well now to recover the way that he has done. Yeah, this is the last fight, Mr. X. Wow. So they both dropped each other in this round, which is you know, pretty crazy. But I feel like Blue was more damaged than Red. But it's a very, very competitive. But Blue's recovered so well, Super Bowl. Some really nice clinch work here as well. Wow, yeah, I mean, they're both being so aggressive. You know, it's fights like this that are fun to watch. You know, and nothing in it. Like, you know, they've both dropped each other. They both hurt each other. They both worked well in the first round. Like, it's... Yeah, so then you've got to go to the... Because of the must system, you know, first round you could go either way, and then this round could go either way. So you've got a 10-9 and an 8-7 going into the third round. It's interesting. Yeah, Super Bowls. You know that. I mean, they're both showing a lot of skill, right? Like they're veterans that still look like they're ready to go. Hey, Nick. Good morning, USA. Wow. See, it's cool that they have the, like, even in the main fight, that they keep that at 3 rounds as well. So then you don't get the comparison of looking at the earlier fights being really fast, and then the final being a 5 round fight, which is at a slower pace. You know, so that's cool. I like that. It, I mean, the second half of this round is really going to be what decides the fight for me, I think. Um, I mean, but like Super Bowl is working hard for it, but Conclay's still having his moments too. They're, the way that they, like, I know you call it like dirty boxing, but the way that they're boxing in and out of the clinch is so good. They're you know, there's plenty to learn just by watching this fight. You slow it down and have a look at what they're doing. The way that they're neutralising each other in the clinch is really good to see. It really is. Like, this is, you know, this fight and the other fight with the two Thai guys, that they've both been really well made. Like, really well matched. Good fun fights to see. And that, like, the fact that they're 9 minutes long compared to 15 minutes, you know, like you get with the MMA, that makes a difference for me as well. You know, a fight is much more entertaining for 9 minutes than it is for 15, I think. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So you'd say, like, but Blue may be using more like Muay Thai techniques. Um, so they might edge it to Blue. Like, but again, this is a fight where, like, as a foreigner, I wouldn't want to be judging this fight in between Thais in Thailand. Um, just because someone will call you an idiot for something, and like this was super close, so yeah, get yourself in trouble. Good fight. So what we're thinking, red or blue? I'd say personally I'd go with blue. Uh, and the only reason I'd say blue is because in my opinion, he landed more Muay Thai techniques in a Muay Thai fight, but really not much in it either way. But good fun, and he did so well. He seemed really hurt in the second round when he got knocked down. Compared to Red, Red seemed to be straight back up. Let's see. So yeah, blue won. So yeah. Yeah, I think that just comes to maybe landing more Muay Thai techniques, but you know, I don't really think either fighter would be too upset either way, to be honest. Like I said, that the emphasis on winning and losing in Muay Thai isn't as much as it would be in boxing or MMA. So yeah, that was a good fun fight. And there's been a few good ones. So Yeah, I'll post a few videos through the week. If there is any fights that you want me to watch or react to, just put them in the comments of one of my videos, or my socials are in the description. I'll get back to you on there. Even your own fights or training videos, and I'll definitely be doing another one of these next week. Yeah, it's been really fun, and thank you, disgruntled Mr. X, Nick from Texas. I appreciate you all. So yeah, thanks for the support, guys, and yeah, it's been fun having you. Okay, so I'll see you soon.